Part 56. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 553. It took 2 days, and with the efforts of all the ship girls, the Siren stronghold was finally turned upside down. Not only did he obtain a lot of resources, he even obtained a lot of technologies that Qin Ji had never expected. It's really surprising. Qin Ji looked at the data in front of him and said in surprise. Yes, what we gained this time is really amazing, Bismarck said to Qin Ji. If nothing else, this mass-produced warship technology alone is worth our losses this time. However, to implement this technology, a large amount of resources must be required, otherwise it will be just a bunch of useless stuff, Qin Ji said while looking at the data in his hand. I have investigated and found that this technology is very simple, and using the remains of the Siren, we can make it, Bismarck said. Qin Ji couldn't help but laugh. Haha, this is called no guns or cannons. Will the enemy make them for us? Destroy the mass-produced model of Siren and then use her materials to make it? We will use the mass-produced model. This is a good idea. However, we have to replan this mass-produced hull. We cannot use the Siren hull, otherwise it will be difficult to explain when other camps or other commanders see it. It's natural. It's not just a problem that's hard to explain. If we go out with this Siren mass-produced warship, I'm afraid the Sirens will laugh to death, Veneto said with a smile. Qin Ji smiled and continued to look under the thing he was holding. Oil refining technology, this is good. We were preparing to overcome this difficulty before, but this has solved our urgent need. In the future, if we have this technology, we will be able to station in Guam. Indeed, in addition to this, there are some useful facilities that we have dismantled and taken away, and they also include the red tip, supplies, oil, various parts, and other resources in this Siren stronghold, the company said. Qin Ji smiled and said, then the purpose of this battle has been achieved. Then we will all withdraw and then destroy the Siren stronghold. Let's go home. I don't know what time it is in the outside world now. It would be a pity if I rush home and miss it in time to celebrate the new year. I think we will definitely have time. Seeing Qin Ji's openness, several ship girls couldn't help but laugh. As the fleet left the range of the Siren stronghold, the aircraft carriers and main battleships each summoned their own ships to fall into the water and attack the Siren stronghold. Soon the Siren stronghold was destroyed, and the surrounding area seemed to sparkle, and then everyone left the Mirror Sea. Commander, we have come out, and the radar has shown it. Jinhai looked at the radar and said to Qin Ji. The newcomers have come out, then we will get ready and go home, Qin Ji said with a smile. Good. The fleet started slowly and sailed slowly towards the station. When we returned to the station, the sky had darkened. Qin Ji walked out of the command ship, looked at the several camp envoys who were already standing there early, and couldn't help but smile at St. Louis. It seems that I came back to rest early, but my dream is shattered. St. Louis smiled and said, the commander can wait until tomorrow to hold the meeting. After simply informing them today, they can go to bed early. Qin Ji smiled and shook his head. You can rest anytime, but this matter is a serious matter, and didn't the Wasp also say it before? Such a situation also occurred in the Free Iris Sea. If it is possible, then we timely discovery here will allow them to prepare early. Commander is really kind, St. Louis said meaningfully. Qin Ji shrugged, well, this is also a transaction. We still need them somewhere, but we are just reporting the situation. I have no intention of handing over what we got this time. St. Louis smiled and said, I didn't say anything, Commander. Of course, this is my decision. Qin Ji smiled, and then quickly walked towards the people who came over. Welcome back, Commander. Qin Ji. Special envoys and wasps from several camps said to Qin Ji. Thank you for your hard work, Qin Ji responded politely. Did you find anything after being out for so long this time? and I saw obvious signs of damage to the command ship. Could it be that it has experienced a war? How? Asked Qin Ji very straightforwardly. Qin Ji smiled and nodded. Yes, I have experienced a war. When I was exploring the sea before, I found that the detectors in the sea over there could no longer send back signals. Could it be that we encountered a mirror sea over there? Wasp asked Qin Ji. Yes, we encountered the mirror sea, and a brand new siren advanced humanoid appeared. I wonder if you have heard the name of the builder. Qin Ji looked at several people and asked. When he heard Qin Ji ask this question, he was stunned for a moment. Then how quickly reacted and shook his head. No, is it a brand new siren humanoid? It sounds very similar to the names of the testers. Qin Ji smiled thoughtfully. Yes, it is a siren humanoid command unit at the same level as the testers and purifiers. If you have time now, then go to the conference room together. I will explain to you in detail what happened in this war. After all, there is now a new siren humanoid command unit, which is also a pressure on each camp, isn't it? Okay, then I'll trouble Commander Qin Ji, the iron-blooded Nizanaw said with a smile. Qin Ji nodded, stretched out his hand and said to several people, please. Commander Qin Ji also invites you. Qin Ji and others returned to the port area in the afternoon, and it was already evening after the meeting. After the meeting, he did not stay in the office area longer, but went directly back to his residence. Belfast had already prepared meals for Qin Ji early. Now in the cafeteria, Qin Ji was eating while talking to the ship girls surrounding the dining table. Commander, how was the meeting today? What was the reaction of the several camps? Enterprise asked Qin Ji. Qin Ji smiled, put down the chopsticks in his hands and said, they are very interested in the information we gave them, but I think they chose to hide some things from us. Oh, Bismarck frowned. What are they? My son Frederick the Great smiled. I said this afternoon that this time we met a builder. Royal counterattack was stunned for a moment, and when I didn't explain the builder level, Royal's house said it was really similar to the name of the tester. What do you think this means? Qin Ji said lightly. The 9 major camps are hiding something from us. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 554. Frederick the Great has communicated with the 9 formations before and viewed their secret files. Obviously there is no name of the builder in these secret files, but this time we met the builder. And from the royal family's reaction, I believe they should have dealt with the builder before, but they chose to hide it from us. In other words, they showed us the secret files, but it was just what they asked us to see, not all their secret files. Qin Ji said thoughtfully to the ship ladies present while fidgeting with the food on the plate with chopsticks. Then his eyes fell on Amagi. Maybe Akagi and Kaga also know this, otherwise they wouldn't have discovered the weakness of the construction so quickly. Right, Amagi. The issue of the weakness that Akagi and Kaga discovered on the battlefield was indeed conveyed to me through communication by them personally, but they never mentioned it when they were with me before. So I don't know very clearly whether they know about the existence of the builder, but from the royal family's reaction, I think they should already know about the existence of the builder. Amagi said. So what exactly are the 9 major camps trying to hide? There's no problem with this information being released, right? What's the purpose of deliberately concealing the Siren Senior Humanoid Command Unit? The company said incomprehensively. Frederick the Great smiled and said, who doesn't want to have one more card in his hand? Judging from the builder's performance today, she has great research value. And her desire for destruction is much smaller than that of several other Siren humanoid command units, unlike testers and purifiers, the kind of sirens who appear on the front line. The occasional appearance of the builder is more elusive, and her actions can be more easily concealed. And exposing the number of Siren humanoid command units too much will definitely cause panic. Maybe the top secret files that the 9 major camps showed me before were deliberately made available to humans, including other camps? All the ship girls were speechless for a moment, weighing the gains and losses. At this time, Qin couldn't help but smile. Actually, it's us who have the initiative this time. Now the major camps know that we have discovered the whereabouts of the builders, and have provided this news to them. In other words, regardless of whether they know about this matter or not, this matter is no longer so-called top secret. But it was not them who proposed it, but us. Then we can use this as an opportunity to ask for other things from the major camps in exchange for cooperation. Will this be successful? The company asked doubtfully. Also, if others know that we are using this method, are they taking advantage of us? Chi. I don't know who laughed, which made the company look extremely embarrassed. Bismarck raised his head and looked at the Enterprise and said seriously, maybe you are a brave and legendary warrior on the battlefield, but in the interactions with the camp, you are too naive. Originally, I thought it would be the commander who would make such a mistake this time, but I didn't expect the commander's rapid growth during this period, which even surprised me. But I didn't expect it to be you, the current leader of White Eagle. For you, I can help you explain. There are inherently incompatible ideas between camps. For example, you, White Eagle, yearn for freedom and equality, while we, Iron Blood, believe in iron and blood. This kind of idea is simply incompatible. So don't try to use your own camp's ideas to constrain other camps, otherwise you will suffer big losses. Moreover, camps and camps can cooperate with each other because of common interests. For example, as a lane exists because there is an enemy that none of us can defeat. Can we assume that if this enemy is gone, is it possible for us to coexist peacefully? This Enterprise was at a loss for words. Although she really wanted to say yes, her reason told her that it was impossible. The reason why the 9 major camps can be together now is because they are now unable to fight against the Siren alone. As mentioned before, all the interests of the 9 major camps are based on the interests of their own camp. And even if you can't get it yourself, you must not let other camps get it. This is also the reason why our fleet was able to gain something from Chongying's opportunity last time. Bismarck said to the Enterprise. But isn't the commander of Donghuang? Enterprise asked. It was true before, but it may not be true in the future. Bismarck looked at Qin Ji and said. What surprised the company was that Qin Ji did not refute Bismarck's point of view, but just ate with chopsticks, as if he had not heard Bismarck's words just now. Why? Asked the company. Because Donghuang's stage is too small for the Lord. And as the strength of our fleet grows, Donghuang is not sure that he can command us. It's not that we want to break away from Donghuang, but that Donghuang and us will inevitably go down 2 paths in the future. Magi smiled. Yes, this is why the previous commander was so entangled, not only for the large fleet, but more importantly for Donghuang. Veneto looked at Qin Ji and said. Qin Ji put down the chopsticks in his hand and wiped his mouth with a tissue on the side. He raised his head and said speechlessly, you are a preaching company, why are you targeting me again? Commander, is this all what they said? Enterprise asked. Looking at the somewhat confused company, Qin Ji nodded, yes, didn't you have a meeting before? In fact, from the moment Frederick the Great reformed the fleet, we were destined to embark on this path. In other words, the moment I continue to summon the ship girls, we are destined to embark on this path. Although the 9 major camps have existed in this world for a long time, and the strength they possess is definitely not what we see on the surface, our development speed is too fast. When they didn't even dare to think about it, our fleet now has more than 10 ship girls who have awakened or are about to awaken. As mentioned before, as the 10th largest force in the future, we must give top priority to the interests of our fleet. This is an unavoidable fact. We can help the 9 major camps in other ways, but we will never allow change on this point. Therefore, we must seize every opportunity we can to strengthen the strength of our own fleet. When one day in the future, our strength can surpass the 9 major camps, perhaps at that moment we can put aside the interests of our own fleet and welcome them with open arms. But not now. I must be responsible to you, and to everyone in our fleet. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 555. The moonlight filled every corner of the port station. It was supposed to be a time for rest, but 2 people were walking side by side on the beach. After the meeting in the restaurant, Qin Ji felt that the company was a little absent-minded. This made him a little uneasy, so he did not go to rest immediately, but asked the company he met to go out for a walk together. Walking on the beach, the 2 of them didn't say a word when they came, and they were very silent along the way. The company's thoughts are very confused now, so it is speechless. Qin Ji was thinking about how to comfort her, so he didn't speak in a hurry. But in the end, the company couldn't bear it anymore, stopped and looked at the sea in the distance, and said to Qin Ji, "Commander, can't there be a better solution to all this?" Qin Ji sighed, "It's possible, but in that case, our fleet will always be in a passive state, allowing the other 9 camps to manipulate and do things we may not want to do. Do you think you are willing to accept such a result?" After listening to Qin Ji's words, Enterprise shook his head in confusion. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile when he saw such a company, and then extended his hand. "In the restaurant just now, my tone may have been a little harsh, so I apologize to you here." Without hesitation, Enterprise held Qin Ji's hand, and a warm feeling was particularly obvious in this night with the sea breeze. "It doesn't matter, Commander, am I really too naive?" Enterprise asked Qin Ji. Qin Ji shook his head, "No, you are not naive, you just want to make things better. But sometimes the ideal is very full, but the reality is very skinny. I really like how you are, strong and enterprising to overcome all difficulties. This is what I dreamed of in the past, but now I suddenly find that I can't do it." Looking at the hands still holding each other, Qin Ji smiled at the company and said, "Let's walk together and talk while walking." As Enterprise nodded, Qin Ji led her forward. Enterprise beside him asked in a low voice, "Why does the commander say that I look like what you dream of?" Qin Ji smiled and said in the slightly humid sea breeze, "Didn't I say before that I was a student in a military academy in another world? Therefore, my biggest wish at that time was to join the army and use my knowledge and strength to defend our country. All difficulties and setbacks seem so insignificant in the face of such a lofty ideal. At that time, just like you now, full of enthusiasm and motivation. And I hope to be like this in the army in the future, dedicating my own life to my country. But it's impossible now. I came to this world unexpectedly and may never go back. And even if I find a way to go back in the future, I may choose not to go back, because I already have you now and have more bonds. This is a dilemma, so this time, because of my selfishness, I gave up my ideal and retreated. I'm afraid that you will have a bad time after I leave. Even though I can take you to my world, you are too powerful, powerful enough to change the pattern of that world. There are a lot of restless people in the fleet, so sometimes I don't dare to bet because I can't afford it." When he said this, Qin Ji smiled at the company and said, "It seems that what I said is a bit off topic." The company naturally knows what Qin Ji means. Although everything in the fleet seems to be in peace now, the concepts between the various camps still exist, just like what Bismarck told himself today. If we really return to Qin Ji's world and there is no longer an enemy like the Siren, even if Qin Ji controls it, will he really be able to control it then? This thought only lasted for a moment, and Qin Ji next to him continued, "Being the commander of the fleet now is like being the head of a big family. Sometimes I know in my heart that certain practices are correct, but for the growth and benefit of family members, I have to change these practices. So from the moment I made the decision, I started to become selfish. Although I still have that spirit in my heart, this spirit is more like a bottom line, and I pay more attention to you. Commander. Enterprise looked at the smiling Qin Ji and felt that he truly understood him at this moment. Qin Ji smiled and shook his head. Don't worry about me, because this is a choice I made, and it is not against my will. It is something I made after careful consideration in my heart, so don't care about what Bismarck said or me. That being said, just keep your thoughts to yourself. What I want to see in a company is a person who is aggressive and strong, and I don't want you to become a deep-thinking person. So be happy, after all we just won a battle, right? After hearing this, Enterprise held Qin Ji's hand tightly, looked at the distant sea of stars, and said to Qin Ji, all the lights in the sky are stars, and all the lights on the sea are enemies. Commander, do you really think there will be a day without struggle? Qin Ji thought for a while. Although I really want to tell you that there will be such a day, there is an old saying in Donghuang, which is that wherever there are people, there will be rivers and lakes. As long as there are equal forces, this kind of struggle will never happen. It can't end. But if we become strong enough, we can transcend these struggles and keep ourselves within them. Being detached from these struggles, wouldn't that mean becoming invincible? Asked the company. Yes, as long as we become stronger and invincible, others will not be able to attack us, and there will be no struggle in the end, Qin Ji said with a smile. Commander, I believe that with you here, I will be able to give full play to my true abilities, so let us become stronger together, end this war together, and create a scene like what the commander said. Enterprise said to Qin Song said. Qin Ji smiled and touched the head of the company with his other hand. Don't worry, I will definitely use you well and create a future that belongs to us. After ending these relatively heavy topics, Qin Ji deliberately shifted the topic to other aspects during the next period of time. The atmosphere gradually became calmer, but as time passed, the temperature here became lower and lower. Considering that Qing Gao is only a human being, Enterprise finally chose to return to the dormitory with Qin Ji. At this time, there were relatively few people awake in the dormitory. After saying goodbye to each other, the two returned to their rooms one after another. But what surprised Qin Ji was that when he returned to his room, Guang Hui was actually in his room. And before I knew it, I had fallen asleep on my bed. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 556. Glorious. Qin Ji looked at the beauty lying on the bed in surprise and said in astonishment. You must know that Guang Hui has always been a very elegant lady. Beautiful and moving may refer to a woman like her. Every time he gets along with Qin Ji, he is always well-mannered, which makes Qin Ji feel more comfortable. After all, everyone wants to be with such a woman, especially if she likes you from the bottom of her heart. But Qin Ji is a little strange. Why is Guang Hui in his room now and sleeping on his bed? So he took off his command hat and put it on the hanger next to him. Then he walked over to Guang Hui and patted her gently on the shoulder. It was different from the way to wake up Shinano, because Qin Ji felt that it would be very rude if he poked Shinano with his finger. But when facing Shinano, he could gently poke her awake. Perhaps this was because the two of them gave him different feelings. Sure enough, after tapping, Guang Hui gradually opened his sleepy eyes, and then saw Qin Ji standing next to him. Ah, Commander, Guang Hui suddenly sat up, quickly straightened his appearance, and finally looked at Qin Ji with an apologetic look. I'm sorry, Commander. Maybe I was too sleepy, so I fell asleep here without your permission. I don't even know when you will come back. Seeing Guang Hui's apologetic look, Qin Ji couldn't help but said in a funny voice, I fell asleep when I fell asleep. I don't mean to blame you, but why did you come here? What's the matter? Guang Hui stood up from the bed and said to Qin Ji, there is something that the commander needs to consult with. I should have asked you before, but because we went to fight first, we were delayed for a few days, so I will do it as soon as I get back. Coming. But it seems that even though he just came back today, the commander is quite busy with his affairs. It's so late for the commander to come back. Qin Ji smiled and said, there is nothing we can do about it. Although our battle in the previous sea area is over, we still have to deal with the 9 major camps when we come back and fight for our own interests for our fleet, so there may be more things. But then again, what's your business, Guang Hui? Do you need me to advise you? As Qin Ji spoke, he unbuttoned the commander's uniform, but when he was halfway unbuttoned, Guang Hui walked up and took over the job from Qin Ji's hands. As soon as he saw someone helping him, Qin Ji naturally stood up straight and allowed Guang Hui to unbutton his buttons. Isn't the Chinese New Year coming soon? I used to always wear ship uniforms or my usual clothes to attend the Spring Festival Gala, and it always felt weird, so I hope I can wear some Donghuang-style clothes this year. I could actually ask Zhenhai for advice, but I don't know him very well, so it's difficult to ask questions like this, so I came over to ask the commander. Guang Hui said to Qin Ji while unbuttoning his clothes. Oh, so that's it, Qin Ji nodded, and then with Guang Hui's help, he took off his commander's uniform. Commander, do you have any suggestions? Guang Hui asked. Qin Ji smiled and said, speaking of Donghuang's clothes, I believe you have seen many Donghuang ship girls before. For example, Yuxian, Ninggai, Pinghai, and Zhenhai wear Chongsam. This kind of clothing was one of the most common styles of clothing during their time. Its style is somewhat similar to a dress, but it is also very different from a dress. Anyway, there are quite a lot of ways inside, and I'm just hearing about them. Going back further should be the Ming Dynasty, when your royal fleet first defeated the Spanish Armada. The more popular dresses were Leroy skirts, phoenix tail skirts and the like. There are also breast-flattering skirts, pomegranate skirts, etc. from the Tang Dynasty. Anyway, there are many popular clothes in the history of Donghuang. One of the reasons is that Donghuang has a very long history, and other civilizations are constantly being integrated into it, resulting in the evolution of clothing. Guang Hui couldn't help but smile. Commander, if you say that, I'm even more confused. I don't know how to choose. What do you think I look better in? Qin Ji was startled and then said, you look good in anything you wear. Commander is an unexpected gentleman today, Guang Hui said with a smile. It was obvious that Qin Ji's answer made her very happy, but this is not the answer to my question. Qin Ji came back to his senses and then said to Guang Hui, actually, I think you look good in Chongsam or Hanfu, because Guang Hui, you have a very good figure and you are beautiful. No matter what you wear, no matter what kind of clothes you wear, they will definitely be suitable. If that's the case, then let's wear Chongsam, Guang Hui said with a smile. After all, most of the Donghuang ship girls in the port area wear Chongsam. Wearing it like this won't make you look out of place, right? Qin Ji smiled and said, okay, besides this matter, is there anything else? Guang Hui took Qin Ji's commander uniform and asked with a smile, Commander, are you anxious to rest? Qin Ji waved his hand quickly, no, I just saw you lying here and fell asleep just now, so I wanted you to go back and rest early. Guang Hui blushed, well, it's just because the commander's bed was a little too comfortable, so I sat here and waited, and fell asleep without even realizing it. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile, really? That's right. Guang Hui grabbed Qin Ji's clothes and said, so, Commander, do you mind letting me experience it for a night? Ahem. Qin Ji choked and coughed a few times at Guang Hui's words, sorry, I didn't hear Guang Hui just now. What are you talking about, so can you say it again? Seeing Qin Ji's appearance, Guang Hui couldn't help but smile and said, I heard that Shinano often stayed at the commander's place to sleep, and it just so happened that today I felt that the bed here was so comfortable, so can I stay here too? How about a night's sleep? This. Qin Ji was indeed a little confused now. Looking at Guang Hui's smiling face, he was speechless. Guang Hui saw Qin Ji's troubled look, so he said jokingly, Era, isn't Commander not willing? Qin Ji quickly waved his hand, that's not what I meant, it's just. Before he finished speaking, Guang Hui smiled and said, so if you say this, the commander has already agreed. Qin Ji waved his hands in panic again, no, it's just. Unexpectedly, Guang Hui interrupted him again and said with a somewhat disappointed look, it seems that commander hates Guang Hui. Well, I really didn't mean that. Qin Ji was speechless for a moment. He felt that it was getting harder and harder for this matter to end today. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 557. The moonlight is like water, and the night is silent. However, Qin Ji's mood at this time was not peaceful at all. It stands to reason that after these few days of going out, I should have been very tired. But Qin Ji was extremely energetic at this time, so energetic that he couldn't sleep even with his eyes open and looking at the ceiling. Commander, are you asleep? A gentle voice appeared next to Qin Ji, but Qin Ji didn't turn his head at all. He just quickly closed his eyes and muttered, asleep. He, you still answer my questions when you are asleep. Commander is really cute. Qin Ji couldn't help but open his eyes, then turned around and looked at the person lying next to him. Under the moonlight, the white hair was extremely bright, and the face was also particularly beautiful, so beautiful that Qin Ji paused for breath when he looked over. And if this familiar face is not Guang Hui, then who is it? After some requests just now, Qin Ji finally agreed to Guang Hui's request. Therefore, Guang Hui slept on Qin Ji's bed tonight. Of course, the two of them didn't sleep under the same quilt, they just slept together. Weren't you very sleepy just now? Why are you so energetic again now? Qin Ji asked Guang Hui. Of course it's because the commander is by my side. I've been looking forward to the scene for a long time, Guang Hui said with a smile. What are you looking forward to? Qin Ji said in surprise. So, sleeping at my place tonight is also a long-planned move on your part. I accidentally said what was on my mind. Guang Hui quickly covered her mouth with her hand, but the smile in her eyes had already betrayed her deeply. Qin Ji couldn't help but laugh and said, but your smile has betrayed you deeply. Now that the commander has discovered it, then I don't need to hide it, Guang Hui said with a smile. Commander, then I can't sleep because you are by my side. Why can't you sleep? Qin Ji smiled and said, of course it's because you, a beauty, are by my side. It's our first time sleeping on the same bed. It would be strange if we could fall asleep so quickly. Can I take this as a compliment? Guang Hui Luoluo said generously, without any hint of coyness. Qin Ji was speechless and rolled his eyes, if you like it. Commander, I suddenly found that lying here looking at you feels much cuter than usual, Guang Hui said with a smile. Cute? Qin Ji couldn't help but reach out and touch his face. It's no longer cute after being exposed to the wind and Sunday. I feel a lot darker when I look in the mirror recently. The reason why we are so brave is because the commander is fighting side by side with us, and I feel that such a commander makes people feel more dependable than when we first met, Guang Hui said. Oh, so what do I look like in your eyes? Qin Ji asked curiously. A commander at ordinary times, Guang Hui smiled. Sometimes he is very serious, and other times he is very silly. He struggles for a long time over some issues that are not problems at all, but he is resolute on the battlefield and makes decisive decisions. Is this kind of commander bothering me a lot? I often wonder, which side of you is the real you? Qin Ji smiled and said, it seems that I am still a very multifaceted character in your heart. Then looking at Guanghui's smile, Qin Ji smiled and said, these are me, the real me. I am also a human being, and I also have feelings. It is precisely because of feelings that I have love, hate, and desire. And when the relationship reaches a certain level, you have to touch the bottom line in your heart. Just think about it in your heart, consider it, and then make a decision. This is why we hesitate and hesitate. But there is no need for this on the battlefield. Just as Frederick the Great said before, you must maintain absolute rationality on the battlefield, so you must eliminate these distracting thoughts. After hearing what Qin Ji said, Guanghui couldn't help but stretched out his hand from the quilt, and then held Qin Ji's hand. Commander, it's not easy. I can see all this, Guanghui said softly, so let's make an agreement between the two of us. What kind of agreement is it? Qin Ji asked. Commander, if you have something on your mind, you can come to me and talk to me. I will never tell anyone else. I will try to tell the commander some solutions to these things, and only the two of us will know these secrets. And if I have something on my mind, I will go to the commander to talk to him, and the commander will not refuse. Guanghui said with a smile. Looking into Guanghui's gentle eyes, Qin Ji agreed directly without thinking, okay. Now it was Guanghui's turn to be a little surprised. Commander, won't you consider it? Qin Ji smiled and said, what are you considering? Haven't I told you about my affairs before? Since I have told you before, isn't this agreement a matter of course? Guanghui couldn't help but laugh. Commander is so cunning, how can the past count? I'm talking about from now on. My answer is also good. Qin Ji smiled, I won't have any secrets in front of you, do you believe that? Guanghui squeezed Qin Ji's hand helplessly. I always feel that the commander is so insincere, but in this case, this agreement will be implemented from now on. Qin Ji nodded, okay. Guanghui's eyes turned and he said to Qin Ji, Commander, actually I have something that is very difficult to say and I am a little hesitant about it. I wonder if I can talk to you. Qin Ji was stunned for a moment, so fast. No, Guanghui asked. Okay, of course Qin Ji agreed readily, but he vaguely felt as if Guanghui had dug a very big pit for himself, but he jumped into it resolutely. Guanghui smiled and said, I like a person very much and am willing to accompany him to the end, and if that person can bring me a ring of oath, I will be very happy. But how can a girl have the nerve to say such a request, so now I am very hesitant about whether to tell him or not. Commander, can you help me? Qin Ji was confused. Although Guanghui kept saying that there was a very melancholy thing, when he said this sentence, how could he not know what Guanghui wanted to express? As a ship girl, the only person she can like in her life is her commander. So instead of saying that Guanghui told herself what she was struggling with, it was more of a very direct attack. The Ring of Oath is a piece of ship equipment that can increase the overall strength of a ship girl. Compared with equipment such as ship guns, it adds very little power. But on the other hand, it represents a deeper contract between the ship girl and the commander. In the name of love, we conclude a vow. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 558. There is a joke that has been circulating in the commander circle that when you have the first oath ring, you will be very hesitant because you don't know who to give the oath ring to. But when you have the second oath ring, it will be very refreshing to confirm your goal. Qin Ji originally thought that such a joke was far away from him, but on such a moonlit night, his ship girl put it in front of him in the form of a straight ball. Commander, Guanghui called softly. In fact, she feels very unsure now, because she knows her commander, and this kind of decision is not easy to make. So she planned to use one move to frighten the enemy, and then retreat to advance. But what he didn't expect was that this move immediately stunned Qin Ji. "Well, did you call me?" Qin Ji was stunned for a long time, and finally reacted and said to Guanghui. "There are only two of us here," Guanghui said with a smile. "Commander, what do you think of the question I just mentioned?" I think you should tell him directly, or give him a hint, so that there may be a turnaround." Qin Ji paused, then said firmly to Guanghui. "Really?" Facing Qin Ji's answer, Guanghui looked a little unbelievable, and a trace of tears burst from her eyes, which looked so crystal clear under the moonlight. "Why are you doing this?" Qin Ji couldn't help but smile bitterly, and quickly stretched out his other hand and wiped it on Guanghui's face. "It's necessary, because this is what I want to know most. Even if I am laughed at by the commander, I still want to know," Guanghui said firmly. Fool Qin Ji couldn't help but knock his head when he looked at Guanghui, and suddenly laughed out loud. "What on earth am I struggling with? I already love you so much, but I still can't take that step. You think I'm stupid? No, as the commander said, you will see the rainbow after the storm. Perhaps after so much hesitation and entanglement, what you promise will be the determination to take life as your promise." Guanghui looked at Qin Ji and said seriously. "Are you committed to life?" Qin Ji smiled, and with a strong force on the hand held by Guanghui, he pulled Guanghui's whole body to his side, and then hugged her and kissed her deeply. Obviously Guanghui didn't expect Qin Ji to be so direct. After being stunned for a moment, he reacted, then hugged Qin Ji's body tightly and responded eagerly. After a long time, the two separated and looked at each other. The light in their eyes was different. One was extremely determined, the other got what he wanted, and smiles spread across their faces. "It seems that tonight, I will be so excited that I can't sleep all night." Qin Ji couldn't help but laugh at himself. "I will always be with you, Commander. Whether I am chatting all night or watching you sleep, I will always be with you," Guanghui said affectionately. Qin Ji smiled, then touched Guanghui's face with his hand, and then hugged her tightly. "Then let's chat while the night is still long." "Well, what do you want to talk about, Commander?" Guanghui said happily. "I have a question that I have always been very curious about. When did you fall in love with me? And you were a free ship girl before. Logically speaking, you should have met many commanders. Why did you choose me alone?" Qin Ji was curious. "Road." Guanghui chuckled and said, "It seems that the commander is very concerned about this issue." Qin Ji scratched his head and said with some embarrassment, "Since we all admit that we are together, we can't keep it secret, right? So I really want to know about this." Guanghui smiled and said with a hint of recollection, "It's a long story, but actually, like most free ship girls, I didn't want to find a commander. But then something happened that made me particularly concerned. It was only then that I decided to find a commander." Qin Ji asked curiously, "What's going on?" Guanghui said, "When we were on the front line, we were almost the same as our stationed free ship girls now, but it was not in the station where we were stationed, but in a separate location. The large fleets on the front line are generally relatively strong, so there is no need for free ship girls to patrol the sea areas with them. However, when performing tasks, there may not be enough manpower. This is when our free ship girls can play their best. That time, a few ship girls and I and a commander jointly took on a beacon detection mission to the edge of the 5th level sea area to the 6th level sea area. Originally, it was very easy to complete this task according to our configuration, but we unexpectedly encountered two large fleets in the 6th level sea area, and these large fleets were all commanded by Siren elite humanoids. We fought very hard that time and lost several ship girls, including the free ship girls and the commander's ship girls. When we went back, the commander stood on the beach and looked at the sea in the distance as if he had lost his soul. His ship girls stood next to him and didn't say a word, but I could see that they and his commander same, very sad. That scene touched me deeply. From then on, I wanted to know what the relationship between the commander and the ship girl was like. What was it like to have a ship girl with a commander? So I started paying attention and sent out the message that I wanted to find a commander. When Guanghui said this, he smiled and said, "Fortunately, I didn't make a hasty choice at that time, otherwise I would have missed you, Commander." Qin Ji smiled and said, "I remember you said this before, saying that several commanders invited you to join the fleet, but you didn't agree." "Commander has a really good memory." Guanghui smiled and buried his head in Qin Ji's arms and said, "Maybe there is a lot of tension on the front line, or maybe I suspect that they just fancy my ability, so they had no choice until the end. Just when I was about to give up, I got a call from the Prince of Wales. At that time, because I also wanted to go back to the rear and relax, I agreed to her. I met you after I returned to Shenhua City. At that time, you gave me a completely different feeling from a front-line commander. You were not so heavy, but full of passion. You stood in the lecture hall and illuminated with your own light other people. To be honest, I was a little excited from that moment on. Later, after getting along with him for a period of time, I found that the commander met my standards very well, even better, so I joined your fleet. If I really want to say when did I fall in love with you, then it should be the moment when you became my commander. Putting the rest of my life in your hands, and moving forward and retreating together from now on, this must be what I like, right? My ship girl, my world." Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 559. Put the rest of your life in his hands, and then move forward and retreat together. What a beautiful thing to say, but if you think about it carefully, isn't that the relationship between the ship girl and the commander? Especially after being a free ship girl for so long, who would be willing to join the fleet of a strange commander if it weren't for believing in him, if it wasn't for liking him? This is different from ordinary boyfriend and girlfriend relationships, because if you don't like them anymore, you can choose to break up or leave. Even after getting married, you can choose to divorce, and the decision depends entirely on the wishes of the two people. But once the relationship between the ship girl and the commander is decided, it becomes a contract. From the moment it begins until the end of the commander's life, he remains determined and unswerving. Even if sometimes the relationship between the two is very bad, most ship girls will choose to ask their commander to correct themselves, or to provide support to the commander. In fact, this kind of relationship has already broken through the ordinary men and women and reached another realm. Embracing the glory in his arms, Qin Ji discovered that he didn't understand the ship girls at all before, but maybe from this moment on, he will gradually understand them, right? Why did the commander stop talking all of a sudden? Guanghui felt the power coming from his body and said with a smile. "Can I say that I was moved by you?" Qin Ji said with a smile. It's a glorious honor to be able to impress the commander," Guanghui said with a smile. But since the commander just asked Guanghui, Guanghui also wants to ask the commander. What type of girl does the commander like the most? You have to tell the truth. Qin Ji couldn't help but smile. Aside from brilliance, maybe it's a type similar to Nashiro's. Oh, Guanghui was a little surprised when she got this answer, because she had never thought of this answer before. She originally thought that her commander might be like Belfast because of her, but she never thought that he was actually Node. Guanghui, whose curiosity was piqued, hurriedly asked, "Why?" Qin Ji smiled and said, "Because I was in school most of the time before, and the years that impressed me most were in high school. At that time, my desk mate was a girl. Her personality was similar to Nashiro. She was usually calm, but she had a very nice smile. Maybe you can't help but fall in love with that kind of girl from then on? So if you ask me which type of girl I like the most, it would be Node. So that's what it looks like. I thought the commander would say someone who takes care of people like Belfast, or a gentle person like Rodney, but I never expected that the answer would be like this. Guanghui smiled. Qin Ji shook his head and said to Guanghui, the type of girls that boys like is determined by their environment and experience, just like me before. Because she often studies and is alone, it is a luxury for a girl like Belfast who can take care of others. So I feel very emotional now that the person closest to me emotionally in the entire Hong Kong area is a British lady like you. But then again, aren't ladies always very elegant and tactful when expressing their feelings? Guanghui chuckled, elegance and tact are the kind of people like Miss Hood. Although I am also a lady, my personality is unexpectedly proactive. Qin Ji smiled and said, you can see that, so I am yours now. Guanghui smiled and said, I don't mind if the commander owns many wedding ships at the same time. Qin Ji coughed, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. After all, people like me who have love for the commander are not a minority in our fleet. I don't want to be ostracized and isolated by them in the future. Being the first one is already very enviable. Now, if you think about monopolizing the commander again. Guanghui said with a smile. However, she did not continue to speak at the end, but the meaning she wanted to express was very clear. Qin Ji couldn't help but rub his head when he heard Guanghui's words. What Guanghui said was indeed correct. Let's not talk about whether he felt guilty towards other ship girls. Just say that if I only have one wedding ship, Guanghui, what will the fleet look like? Qin Ji's head suddenly felt big just thinking about it. Although Akagi and Kaga, who are heavy cherry blossoms, have not appeared in front of him recently, it does not mean that they have no thoughts about him at all. Especially after experiencing the previous situation, Qin Ji absolutely believed that the two of them had not appeared in front of him recently because of Tiancheng and Frederick the Great. And in addition to Akagi and Kaga, the royal centaurs, Rodney, Shiji Sakura's Nashi, Amagi, White Eagle's Helena, the iron-blooded Prince Eugen, etc., they have all been with him along the way, and their feelings are needless to say, its depth is natural. The most important thing is that Guanghui used to be a free ship girl and was not summoned by herself. If Kauki is the only one, what will the ship girl he summoned himself think? Looking at Qin Ji whose face was getting darker and darker, Guanghui couldn't help but laugh and said, Commander, do you think it's scary to think about it? Qin Ji couldn't help but be speechless. Not only is it terrifying, I feel that if I announce this matter, then I am afraid that I will definitely become a puppet in the future, and may even die. Guanghui waved his hand, it's not as scary as the commander said. Death is absolutely impossible, because others will never allow that person to attack the commander. But it is very possible to become a puppet, so in order for the commander to be able to command the ship smoothly in the future, and for your own safety, work hard to earn red points. Ahem. Qin Ji couldn't help but sigh. Suddenly I realized that being an ordinary commander is pretty good. There are only a dozen ship girls. Even if we fight for it in the future, there will only be those few. Now I suddenly find that as the fleet slowly grows, one aspect has now become a burden. This is called having great benefits, but being great also comes with great helplessness, Guanghui said with a smile. Anyway, the overall situation has been decided, and there was a bit of ridicule in her laughter. Well, Guanghui, why don't we discuss it first? Qin Ji said hesitantly, how about delaying the purchase of the oath ring for a while? It's better to develop our fleet now. Is it possible that Commander has already reached this point and still chooses to retreat? Guanghui said with a smile, without any sign of anger. Qin Ji's face darkened, but his aura instantly weakened. Okay, then tomorrow. Anyway, this time we harvested a lot of red tips in the Siren stronghold, otherwise I will go to Akashi's tomorrow and buy a ring of oath. Guanghui smiled contentedly, then rolled his eyes and said to Qin Ji, I suggest Commander buy two. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 560. Although he was concentrating on writing the documents on the table, Qin Ji always felt that there was a pair of eyes looking at him with a teasing smile. That look made him a little uneasy. Qin Ji had no choice but to put down his work and raised his head to look at the owner of that look. "St. Louis, you have been looking at me for a long time. Is there something wrong with my face?" Qin Ji said, looking at his secretaryship in front of him. St. Louis smiled and waved his hand. "No, today's commander is particularly handsome. There is no problem at all." Qin Ji couldn't help but was speechless. He picked up the teacup next to him and said while drinking water, "Then why are you looking at me all the time? Is it the secretaryship's job to keep looking at the commander?" "No," St. Louis smiled, "it's just that I suddenly feel that the commander has grown up and knows the benefits of women." Puff. Qin Ji just took a sip of water and sprayed it out before he could swallow it. Signal St. Louis was standing next to his desk, otherwise he must have sprayed all over her. "Era, Commander, drink water slowly. No one will compete with you." St. Louis smiled. "Ahem." Qin Ji coughed violently several times and said to St. Louis, "What do you mean by what you just said? What do you mean by knowing how to treat women?" "Isn't it?" St. Louis asked strangely. "Miss Guanghui came out of the commander's bedroom this morning. This matter has spread throughout the port area." Qin Ji was stunned. "No, Guanghui obviously got up very early and went back, and even the maid team didn't come over. How did you know she was at my place last night? And why does the port area know?" "Haha, the commander still admitted it," St. Louis said teasingly. Qin Ji's face darkened. "So, please answer my question carefully." St. Louis said, "The commander's room is the most noticed place in our dormitory. If a fly or mosquito flies in, everyone will know about it, let alone a living person walking in." Qin Ji opened his mouth, but under St. Louis's answer, he suddenly found that he couldn't say a word. "Haha, are you so surprised, Commander?" St. Louis said with a smile. "Aren't you surprised?" Qin Ji breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Then why no one of you talks about it every time Shinano goes in, but it's like this when Guanghui goes in?" "Because Shinano's character is like that. Anyone who knows it will understand that nothing will happen even if she goes in. But Miss Kauki is different, it is fundamentally different," St. Louis said with a smile. Cough. Qin Ji couldn't help but cough. "So, Commander, did you grow up last night?" St. Louis asked very curiously. "Growth? What growth?" Qin Ji asked doubtfully. "Is there any growth? Of course, has anything happened between you and Guanghui?" St. Louis said. "Don't you all know?" Qin Ji rolled his eyes and said. "We know that Guanghui went in last night and came out this morning, but we don't know what you talked about or what you did inside, because it is unethical to pry into other people's privacy," St. Louis said. Qin Ji was speechless. "Do you still know that it is immoral?" But he didn't dare to say this, so he shook his head and said, "Nothing happened, I just had a simple sleep." "Era, Commander, do you think I believe it?" St. Louis said with a smile. "Ahem, don't mention this." Qin Ji tried to change the subject. "St. Louis, how many red tips did we harvest from the Siren stronghold before?" St. Louis's eyes lit up, and he showed an expression of sudden realization. "Commander is planning to propose? Who is the target? If there is no Helena, I don't agree with it very much." Qin Ji looked at St. Louis in front of him with a confused expression. "Why do you know I want to buy the oath ring?" He, it's because the commander's character is really easy to guess. Although you got some red tips sporadically during previous missions, it's useless for you to keep them away. Moreover, Akashi's need for red-pointed items is not only the Ring of Oath, but also some ship equipment. Of course, there are also supplies, oil, and the like, but I believe that the commander will not use something as important as red tip to buy things that are already very easy for us to obtain, right? Coupled with yesterday's glorious action and the commander's reaction just now, if I couldn't guess it, then I wouldn't be St. Louis. Explained St. Louis. Qin Ji rolled his eyes. I found that you are very sensitive to this. I am indeed planning to buy the Ring of Oath. Well, how many are you planning to buy, Commander? Or are you only planning to buy one? St. Louis climbed on the desk with great interest and looked at Qin Ji. Well, prepare to buy two, Qin Ji said to St. Louis. Oh, St. Louis said with a smile, who is the commander going to give it to? Won't you know this later? Qin Ji obviously didn't want to say it now. So I can know it later, so why can't I know it earlier? This is not a confidential file or anything like that, and as a secretary ship, it is my duty to know the commander's every move, St. Louis said. Qin Ji couldn't help but shed a cold sweat when he looked at St. Louis, who looked like he was watching a good show. Sure enough, every woman has a burning soul of gossip in her heart, even the ship girl is no exception. Glory, so Qin Ji could only say it bravely. Huh? What else? Aren't you going to buy 2 oath rings in total? St. Louis asked. No more, there's only one, Qin Ji said quickly. Since there is only one, Glory, why did the commander buy 2 oath rings? St. Louis asked. Qin Ji said to St. Louis what Guanghui said last night, because even if I want to give Guanghui the oath ring, I want other people to know that Guanghui is not the only one in my heart. Anyone can become the next one. St. Louis smiled and nodded. Such words must not have come from the commander's mind, right? I think it was Miss Guanghui who told you last night. Qin Ji was speechless. Why do you think I can't think of such words? Because according to the commander's usual style, the most likely thing to do is to only buy 1 oath ring. When the next ship girl expresses her feelings to you, you can buy the second one. Definitely not buying 2 at once. St. Louis said. Qin Ji couldn't help but be startled. In fact, he thought the same thing last night, so he smiled bitterly and said, it seems that you guys really understand me, so I think the idea Guanghui gave me is quite good. Yes, so how about giving Helena the next Ring of Oath? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 561. Although St. Louis said that, Qin Ji still didn't give her an answer in the end. Just kidding, I just confirmed the ownership of the first one of the oath ring, and I'm about to ask him to order the second one. At least give him some time to react, right? Seeing that Qin Ji had made up his mind, St. Louis also stopped promoting Helena. Because he himself has no hope for this. After all, according to Qin Ji's character, it is already very rare for him to make changes. If he tries too hard, it will probably have the opposite effect. Moreover, St. Louis didn't originally intend for Qin Ji to accept Helena immediately. He just reminded him that there was Helena who silently liked him. Commander, we got 500 here and there when doing commissions. The Siren Stronghold earned 1,000, so we now have 1,500 red tips. St. Louis pulled out a file from the bookcase on the side and looked at it. Qin Ji said. It's only 1,500. I thought we had already done a lot. Qin Ji said, slightly disappointed. St. Louis smiled. It's not too small, because the 500 is just the income for this period of time. We have hardly done much in the commission tasks before, so the accumulation of Hongjian is still relatively small. Well, it seems we can only destroy more Siren strongholds in the future, Qin Ji said to St. Louis. Why is the commander's first reaction to destroy more Siren strongholds instead of sending more landing girls to do some commissions? St. Louis said. Qin Ji couldn't help but was stunned. and then said, I feel that the efficiency of the commission is so slow, it is not as good as destroying the Siren stronghold at once, so naturally I chose more. Moreover, the strength of our fleet also allows me to make such a choice. As long as we do not encounter high-level Siren command units such as testers and purifiers, I feel that our fleet can now run rampant in the 5th to 6th level corrosive sea areas. It is indeed true, St. Louis smiled, but the commander overlooked one point. Even in the 5th level and 6th level erosion sea areas, there are relatively few Siren strongholds. Qin Ji grinned, but you're not that anxious. St. Louis suddenly understood and couldn't help but chuckled, haha, it is indeed a good idea. But I think someone will definitely take the initiative to ask for orders to encircle and suppress the Siren fleet in the sea in the future. The commander's method may only last for a while. I can't last a lifetime. Qin Ji rolled his eyes, anyway, once I get used to it, everything will be easy. At least give me some time to adapt. It seems that the commander himself knows it, so I won't say anything more. St. Louis smiled, but the laughter was full of schadenfreude. Qin Ji glanced at her speechlessly, and then said respectfully, so can you trouble Miss St. Louis to get the 1500 red tips now? Of course. Commander, wait a moment. I'll go get it right now. After speaking with a smile, St. Louis turned and left the office. Qin Gang was left alone looking in the direction of the door and sighed, shook his head in amusement, and then continued to start the work at hand. The current warehouse management in the port area is handled by the kitchen goddess, because there are currently not many ship girls who can be regarded as logistics. The female kitchen goddess counts as one, and so does Yuberi. But in comparison, scientific research is more suitable for Yuberi, and the one responsible for fleet maintenance is more suitable for the kitchen goddess. Therefore, when the fleet was reformed, the kitchen goddess was put in charge of the fleet's logistics. Since they both belong to the White Eagle ship girl, St. Louis quickly found the kitchen goddess. Hey, is it St. Louis? Are you feeling a little unwell when you suddenly come to my place? The female kitchen god looked at St. Louis, who suddenly came to her in surprise. No, I am now the commander's secretary ship, so I came here to pick up some things under the commander's order. St. Louis smiled. It turns out that the commander asked you to come. I thought you were feeling unwell. The female kitchen goddess smiled and said, by the way, if you need anything, I'll bring it to you right now. Red tip, said St. Louis. Red Jian, the female kitchen god just asked doubtfully, then got up and went to the place where the red Jian was placed to get it. Immediately she came to St. Louis with a box. Hey, this thing is quite heavy. St. Louis, you'd better put it in the ship's installation space. Thank you, kitchen goddess, St. Louis said with a smile, and then used the ship's installation space to put away the boxes on the ground. Watching the boxes on the ground disappear, the kitchen goddess nodded, then took out a registration book and said to St. Louis, next, let's make a registration for entry and exit. Okay, St. Louis agreed readily. The goddess of the kitchen then sat back to her original place and wrote on it while reading, today is the 26th day of the 12th lunar month in the Eastern Huangli calendar. St. Louis came to the warehouse on the order of the commander to take away the red tip 1500 units. After writing this, the kitchen goddess raised her head and asked St. Louis beside her, St. Louis, what does the commander need these red tips for? By the ring of pledge, St. Louis said without hesitation, without any concealment. Buying a ring of oath? Is the commander planning to make an oath to someone? The kitchen goddess said in surprise. Yes, the commander has been the commander for more than 3 years now. And he is not young either. He is already 25 years old this year and will be 26 soon. Isn't it normal to have a wedding ship at this time? St. Louis said with a smile. I'm just a little surprised. After all, many people have told me before that the commander is a person who is very slow to respond to emotions, So when I suddenly heard such news, I felt a little bit surprised, the kitchen goddess explained. Haha, isn't it because you, the kitchen goddess, usually only focus on companies and patients, St. Louis said, so this also proves that the commander is not the emotionally slow person you knew before. If you have the chance, try to conquer it. The kitchen goddess was stunned, and then waved her hand with a blush. No need, the commander is very busy at work every day, and if I go there like this, it will disturb his work. It is precisely because he is very busy at work, so it is your duty, the kitchen goddess, to go over and care for him occasionally and take care of his body, St. Louis said with a smile, so you can figure it out yourself. I'll tell you. I've told you this. And if the registration is completed, then I will leave, but the commander is still waiting over there. The kitchen goddess was stunned for a moment, and finally pointed to the back of the registration book and said to St. Louis, sign here. Good. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 562. When the time came in the afternoon, after patrolling the port area, Qin took St. Louis to the door of Akashi grocery store. Pressing the familiar Katpa mark, Qin felt a little nervous while waiting for some reason. Haha, is this necessary? Commander, I find that your hands are shaking now, St. Louis smiled. Qin looked at St. Louis with black lines in his head, and the nervousness in his heart just now disappeared. My hands are not shaking, and I am not nervous at all. Really? St. Louis blinked, and then said without any apology, then maybe I just saw it wrong. I'm sorry, Commander. Seeing such naughty St. Louis, Qin had no idea what to do. Fortunately, the door of Akashi's grocery store soon opened. Seeing the familiar green cat head appear in front of him, Qin suddenly felt that Akashi was so cute. Meow. It turns out to be Commander Qin. Do you have any business with me this time? Akashi asked Qin. Qin coughed and said, let's go in and talk. I really have a few things to do with you today. Meow, Akashi said doubtfully, is it related to the siren stronghold that Commander Qin destroyed earlier? Meow. Qin looked at Akashi in surprise, we obviously just came back yesterday, where did you get this information? Akashi covered his mouth and smiled, hee, Commander Qin, there are many channels for me to obtain information. Sometimes I can also sell the information you want to know. Qin was stunned for a moment, you are still selling information, why didn't I know about it before? Akashi said matter-of-factly, previously, Commander Qin was just an ordinary commander. Even if I sold you information, you wouldn't be able to pay the corresponding price. But now, Commander Qin, you are different. Meow. Being able to face a siren command unit with a fleet alone, successfully repel it and clear out its siren stronghold, this kind of strength can already be compared with the average camp. So of course, you will be included in my information trading list. Qin smiled and said, then let me ask you something. If you answer correctly, I will buy all the information from you from now on. Akashi said with a smile, if you want to answer correctly, then Commander Qin must buy something here today. Qin couldn't help but be speechless when he heard Akashi's words. In the end, this profiteer remained stubborn and never did business at a loss. But if she can really answer these questions, why not buy something? What's more, I came here just to buy things. Okay, it's settled. Qin nodded and said, I would like to ask, how many siren-type conductors are there in the world? What are they? So that's the problem, it's too simple, Naya, Akashi said with a smile. Until now, there have been 5 siren high-level humanoid command units in this world, meow. Commander Qin has seen 4 of them so far, namely Observer, Tester, Purifier and Builder, meow. The remaining one is called the Scavenger, which once appeared in the Arctic ice field, and the Northern Alliance fought against it head-on. He is a very powerful guy, and his frontal strength is even more powerful than the Purifier. Qin Ji said in surprise, Scavenger, in the Arctic ice field. It seems that the 9 major camps have indeed hidden a lot of things from us. Of course, meow. After all, Commander Qin Ji, you are already very powerful now. They have treated you as an equal, so you cannot detect some relatively secret information, but ordinary information you can still learn from them, Naya Akashi said with a smile. Qin Ji took a deep look at Akashi. Where did you learn this information? Hey, Commander Qin Ji, this is my business secret. If I tell you, it will be difficult for me to make money, Akashi said with a smile. Interesting. Qin Ji looked at Akashi in front of him and said immediately, our fleet wants to do some research and development on ship equipment technology and fleet resources, and we are going to order a batch of materials and equipment from you. Can you come up with them? Okay, meow. I'm a businessman. As long as I have the right price, I can get anything for Commander Qin Ji, Akashi said confidently. Qin Ji smiled and said, it seems that there are many more things we can cooperate with in the future. But let's agree in advance. If the 9 major camps put pressure on us, will you still trade with us? Commander Qin Ji can rest assured that I am always a businessman and do not belong to any of the 9 camps. Therefore, I have no interest in whether the 9 camps will become the 10 camps. I am only interested in selling. I'm interested in things, Naya Akashi said with a smile. Qin Ji smiled and extended his hand to Akashi in front of him. Then I wish us a happy cooperation in the future. Happy cooperation, meow. Akashi stretched out his sleeves and shook hands with Qin Ji. So what are Commander Qin Ji going to buy today? Or are you going to continue to explore new information? Akashi just put down his hand and looked at Qin Ji with bright eyes. Qin Ji grinned, I haven't decided yet which aspect of the information I need to obtain, or I want too much information, so at least you want to give me a quotation. Akashi pressed his forehead helplessly. I sell information based on the questions you ask me, so Commander Qin Ji can come to me after preparing questions. Of course, if you want to pay the bill, supplies, oil, Rubik's Cube, and a series of other things are all available. Of course, Red Jian is the best. Qin Ji nodded clearly, I see. If that's the case, I'll go back for a meeting later to study what kind of information and things are needed, and then I'll come to you. But now I want to ask, do you have a ring of oath here? Yes, meow. Akashi looked Qin Ji up and down, and then said with a smile, Commander Qin Ji, are you going to buy 10 meows? Or are you going to buy 100 meows? Ahem. Qin Ji was choked by Akashi, I only need 2, not that many. By the way, how many red tips does one oath ring cost? One oath ring costs 600 red points and 2 oath rings total 1,200 red points. Thank you for your patronage, Akashi said with gleaming eyes, and then stretched out his hand, and 2 boxes of oath rings appeared on her hand. Qin Ji frowned, are there no discounts on the 2 oath rings? Can La be discounted? Akashi asked without hesitation.